Today, we're going to show you a technical preview of Project Narrows. The environment we're using for this preview is set up with Kubernetes 1.24.2 using Calico as a CNI, and it has already been set up to use Project Narrows. We're going to walk through the portal so you can see the overall security posture of your clusters and how policies can be defined. First, we'll start in the settings section. This is where a platform administrator can specify the security data source they'll be using. In this case, we're using Harbor. In the setup, you'll create the secret to connect to Harbor and fill in the endpoint of the Harbor instance. From here, you want to also define the image scanning interval to determine the frequency the images will be scanned in Harbor to get the static image data which Project Narrows will use to compare when the workloads are running. You can also add known registries, which will set replication rules in Harbor. Images from these registries will be replicated to Harbor, then scanned to get the security data on these images. And then, taking it a step further, you also have a way to improve the performance by setting up an external Redis. This will allow the security data from Harbor to be cached in Redis and save bandwidth. Now that the configurations are complete, this gives a security auditor the chance to specify the scanning rules in the policy section so they can define quarantining and security rules. To create a policy, there are a number of fields to fill out, including how often the scan should run, whether it's going to be weekly, daily, hourly, or custom. It also includes the option to suspend or resume the scan jobs. In this section, the user can define the baselines to set up the security expectations. This is important because workloads that violate any of these baselines defined will be flagged. This is also where you can add multiple namespaces and workload labels to restrict the scope of scanning. Here, you can choose whether you want to generate a report and quarantine the workloads that are flagged. So let's hop over to these reports. They'll be viewable in the assessment section. The application developer and security auditor are going to care most about this area. This visual shows the history of the number of containers scanned by the Project Narrows, and we're going to dig into one of them to see more detailed information. So in this report, 3 namespaces were scanned. We'll drill down on the Nginx sample. In this container, a critical vulnerability has been identified, and because we chose to automatically quarantine workloads with issues, you can see in the action enforcement section that this is exactly what has happened. Another area for the security auditor to not only view the security posture, but also to view risk trends is under the Insight section. We've organized it into 3 categories. In the cluster section, you can see how many workloads have been scanned and how many are violating the baseline. In the namespace section, you can drill down by the namespace to view the total workloads scanned and how many are vulnerable, and you can also view the violations. In the workload section, you can see the workloads that have been scanned by Project Narrows with the option to drill down. Hope you've enjoyed this tech preview of Project Narrows. In this video, we've shown how you can add runtime scanning to your security arsenal by creating policies, quarantining workloads, and viewing your overall security posture.